Here we are. Say hello to everyone real quick. Here in Peru at Sacsayhuaman, and easy to remember because it sounds like sexy woman. I'm here with Gabriel Lirio of Light is Consciousness, who works closely with me, and he's going to be filming this. We think we're finding some new discoveries here again related to Orion, which is also related to Viracocha, which is their version of Quetzalcoatl, their version of Osiris. Similar story. If you haven't seen yet Graham Hancock's Ancient Apocalypse, season 2, watch it. I think it's the 3rd episode where they talk about this place, and in particular the relationships. But you're going to hear some stuff that we just discovered here yesterday while we were here, and super exciting what's happening here. So I'm going to give it over to Gabriel, and we'll turn the camera the other way. There we go.
Sometimes mostly serpents, a snake in that six-sided shape. Why? Because these walls is in that shape. That represent the way of the energy, of the vibration energy. No?
Yeah. So each of these.
Okay, but Robert, what he just showed us is that there's a llama.
Well, thankfully, we need to have a llama.
Yeah, in our constellation, in our Milky Way, the llama is very important animal. In our constellation, there was a figure of the llama to sitting and then to drink the river of the cosmic river. Yeah, that represents the knowledge in our. That was the reason we give the offering the llama.
Something pajama. Huh?
Something pajama.
Something pajama and mama. Yeah, I noticed it.
It's just llama, like silk pajama.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 3 walls here, right? There are 3 walls, and the 3 walls are making the shape, right, of a snake. So it's very reminiscent of what you see in Chichen Itza as well, related to Quetzalcoatl. But the story here is about, the Quechua, I guess the Peruvian Incan version of that story is Viracocha. And Viracocha is their god who came and taught them all after a big cataclysm how to, rebuild. But we believe that these walls are much older than the Incan period. And Marco here, met with me yesterday and took me on a kind of a private tour around. And we found some pretty interesting new things as well. And I actually believe the reason for the 3 walls here is, and the shape is that of a scalar wave. So it's got pointed points on each of them, but it still represents a snake. So when you look at it from a satellite photography, it definitely looks like a snake still. But the 3 walls, I believe, are representing the Ida and the Pingala, and the central wall is actually related directly to the Shushumna, which is what gets formed. So when you have the 2 snakes going up the staff of Hermes, up the vertebrae, up the spine, then once they finally go up, these are also represented in Kabbalistic mysticism, which is, in the form of Boaz and Jachin, the 2 pillars in Solomon's temple. When you learn finally the central point, when you find and achieve the balance of the circle and the square, the masculine for the square and the feminine for the circle, and you'll see the representations of that over here as well, and up on top at the temple. Then what happens is the Shushumna comes fully online. These are represented in Hertz frequencies, as in precise temperament tuning in a 24-note scale. You have one side of that, which is 432, and 528. Everyone used to always argue about that. Which scale is better? Is it a 528 scale, more healing, or is it a 432 scale? Well, actually, they're both part of the same scale in a 24-note scale. So you just have to go to a 24-note scale, and then they're perfectly in the same scale in precise temperament tuning. The center one is 444 hertz. So you've got 432, 444, and 528. And so you'll see one of these walls is closer to the other wall. So it's closer to the 432. And because of this reason, right? And the offset, I think, relates to the positioning of the heart. But anyway, so we're going to go ahead and walk through this. You're going to see that we discovered there are 3 anchor stones. And the 3 anchor stones have this unique characteristic. Maybe, Marco, you could talk about it a little bit. That they have, each of them, 7 large stones around them.
Yes, and 11 corners.
And 11 corners. right? Which is interesting because in order to get 7 stones around it, you have to have a doubling up of corners, right? Which is not easy to do. You can kind of see it in some of these rocks here, where you can see how there's a bend around a corner. So there's 2 corners on that one stone right in the center probably of the vision right there. And so they did that the same way. And so there's 7 and 11. Now, what is the reason that you believe in archaeology why they did that?
Because the reason it's to found a coincidence about the nature hills are covered in this upper part area to decide to build this religious building in this place. And then they made that 3 temples also on top with different shapes. One was the circle shape, another the rectangle shape, another the square shape. Those temples was the main temples on those upper part area, but the main was the circle shape. In that reason, that temple permit to found our race of our society in this time, but in that figure to close any figures, any geometric figures. That is the representative of our flower of life. No, that was the reason yesterday explanation about that to found many geometric figure, also the rectangle, square, any figures. No, that was the reason we consider in our folklorical describe that is the pipe, pipe, cosmic pipe, that connection with the Milky Way and this Earth. No?
Yeah.
Now we will see that. No? It's very interesting to know that place cause for understand the reason of this building in this upper part area also.
So, but how does the circle relate to the 7 and 11?
The circle, also in the circle, when you made the figures into these 3 circles, you may found that these 11 corners, 7 corners, 3 corners, 4 corners, but all these numbers are mystical numbers, are close in that circle to make those different figures inside. That was the reason that circle building was the main circle or the main place into these 3 huge walls. That was the reason. That was the important temple in our culture.
And very interesting. So there's another aspect of this that relates to these 7 and 11 relationship, and that is the Great Pyramid of Giza. If we were to look at it just based on ratios, the height would be 7 units, its base is 11. 7 and 11. So why is 7 and 11 so important? Because 7 and 11 will give you this angle of 51.85397 degrees, exactly. And that happens to be, if we make a circle from the base of the pyramid, so the bottom of the circle is tangent to its base, is tangent to the apex of the pyramid, so that it has a diameter that's the height of 7 of the pyramid, right? And then we take half of the pyramid's base, and we make a square from that. So you're going to have 11, so it's 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5. That gives you a perimeter that is exactly the same as the circle's circumference that goes from the base of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid. So it's a perfect balancing of masculine and feminine, and it's squaring the circle, or sometimes referred to as quadrature of the circle.
I think so. The circle was the represent the pipe, the imagination pipe, but that building, the height was before, but it's the hypothetical described. Maybe were no more than 20, but no less than 50 meters. But it was huge. But that was the reason it's like 10 to connection the energy of the Milky Way and this Earth. But that was the reason those humans to choose these human buildings, this religious building, this upper part area. When you are on top, in there you get that conclusion when you are in the upper part area, the view, it's old. All this, you may see all this valley. When you are in that area, it is the unique view to see when you're coming into this valley. When you are in the gate of this valley, the first hill to see was this, and then they need to build also these huge buildings in this upper area.
Well, we have three hills here.
Yes.
Right, so there's one over there, which is where the people were living, right? They're like,
Yes, the other one.
and that's the one,
That is the ceremonial place.
the ceremony. But this is the mother,
Mother Earth.
Mother Earth.
Womb Mother Earth. That
Okay.
is the Womb Mother Earth. That was the reason they carved the tables on top. They don't build nothing on upper part area. That was the religious building. In this top, yeah, they built the temples. There were many temples. The main temples were three: the circle, the square, and the rectangle.
So they clearly understood the relationship between the circle and the square.
Yeah.
And for these anchor stones, they must have picked the 7 and 11 relationship to show that they understood this. Because the three anchor stones are exactly in the centers of these points, and I believe they're also making the shape of Orion's belt.
Yeah, I think so. The
And these
real
three hills,
relation,
by the
if
way.
you multiple 3 and 7, you have 21.
21.
How many angles you found in the
21.
corner?
That's right.
It is the have the religion with that.
Yes.
That was the reason they drive these numbers
Mhm.
in everywhere in this building. You can found this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then another is that hill, this hill, and the Christus hill
Yeah.
makes Orion's belt
Yeah.
as well. So there's two correlations. Maybe that's why they picked the geography here, because they had these hills here, and it already was matching. What is the history, either for Incans or any of the prehistory analysis that you guys have done on what is the perception of Orion constellation?
Our constellations on our history, in our Indian history, but it is that along of the life of the humans in this place, the humans that for move and then to found the many places in anywhere, they need to see the sky for location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was the reason they need to understand first the Milky Way first before to build or to stay in different places.
We know it's important to them also because over there is a pool,
That
a
was
very
the reason,
large circular
yes,
pool
that
that was
was
a
the
mirror
reason, that
to
was
look
the
at the sky.
reason they worked this huge mirror
Mhm.
behind that womb Mother Earth.
Mhm.
But that was the reason they need to build that huge mirror for have more good idea about the Milky Way, no? For know the more knowledge about the Milky Way.
But in particular, so in Taurus constellation and Gemini, right? Your Taurus is the bull, right? And then we have Gemini next to it. In between Taurus and Gemini is the Orion constellation. The man, the hunter, right? The hunter, he has 3 stars on his belt.
Yeah.
It's matching also the Great Pyramid alignment.
Here it's the, how do you say that constellation in English? The
Orion.
cross, Andean cross. Andean cross.
Yeah, because we're in the southern
Yeah,
hemisphere.
that is
yes.
our mind in the our Milky Way goes.
Hmm?
That is the things to beginning our new year. In that you may see here in June, in winter solstice.
Mhm.
That is the start our. That was the reason it was very important that the constellation is part.
But you also see Orion in the southern hemisphere
Also.
a lot, right?
Also.
And so what is the significance of Orion to the picture?
Orion,
Show me the belt, yes. 3.
the tree mountain. It is the Chumpi. The Chumpi, it's like
Centura. Yeah.
don't have the face,
Mhm.
but some culture to put the images. In Tiahuanaco, for example, they put the images that some part of the body it's jaguar, another part it's humans, but hands it's in snake to keep the bad news. But and then, but it's depend on the pre-Inca cultures who to represent this. In Inca's time, the Viracocha was one circle.
One circle.
Yeah, that is the thing. That Viracocha we don't have face in that time. Yeah, we don't have bad news. It's just energy. That was the reason yesterday I tell about the echo.
Mhm.
That was the energy.
Energy.
Yeah, to move our life.
And what was on that hill before the Christos?
Before the Christus was the important religious site. In there they do the ceremonies. These people was the Usu was in the rectangle shape.
Interesting. Okay, let's keep going.
Let's go.
So each of these blocks, some of these blocks are more than 100 tons each. And you can see that they're made of limestone, they're soft stone, but the way that they've jointed them together is like mind-boggling. Just standing next to some of these very large ones is really, really amazing. We're going to go up to the anchor stone.
The anchor is
So I have to figure out a way to measure the distance between all of these. The hills I can do because I can do that through Earth. But it definitely looks like Orion orientation for sure. So this is the first anchor stone. I've been here before a few times and never noticed this before. But you can see this anchor stone here on this wall is the largest stone on the wall. And you can see that there's 7 stones around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? But the number of joints that they count that's very consistent is that, like here, that's 2 joints. You see how it's got 2 joints? So then you've got 1 at the base, 2, 3, 4, 5, again, another 2 joints, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the way that these joints are basically wrapped is consistent with the other 2 stones. And so they've noticed this, they've known this for a long time, but it's not something I had ever realized. But the 7-11 relationship is related to the circling of the square and squaring of the circle. And I believe it's a threshold knowledge. Now, Marco said this yesterday as well. This is a site that's much older than the Incans. You know, he thinks it's probably 5,000 years old. I think it's probably more like 13,000 years old. I actually think that this place might actually be the last remnants of what was the Lemurian culture that, you know, spanned the Pacific Ocean and Rapa Nui and Easter Island and all that. And I think this is, you know, part of the border of that culture's expansiveness at that point in time in prehistory. So this is a very special place, and there's another stone like this just over there. We're going to walk over, and he thought they were equidistant, but I don't believe that they are. We're going to measure them. Now, of course, the square and the circle together, when you have this ratio of 7 and 11,
yeah.
makes a triangle.
Yes.
And
Many
that-
triangles.
That triangle is divinity.
Yes.
It represents the divine aspect.
ます。
I think it's 전화해서
It's
This is the second anchor stone. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Joints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So again, the 7, 11 relationship squaring the circle. And we'll have to look at this at satellite photography, which we've got pretty good images of, to find exactly these stones and then find their correlation and measure them precisely. So we can see, I think they're actually matching these three hills.
yesterday I forgot to show the snake figures. That snake figures in high relief that represent the shape of these walls and the way of the energy.
Yeah, it's a snake. Oh, I see. So it's going up. I see a snake going like this. It's a petroglyph.
It is in high relief.
Yeah. These are similar to the ones in Egypt. Similar style. You see that? Where he just threw the rock. That's a snake head right there.
The labels.
You see it? It's right here. A little bit up from where I threw the rock.
Okay.
And you see the eye? There's two snakes. Do you see the second snake, Marco?
Yeah.
There's a larger snake on top with an eye. But it not only has a snake, but there's a snake with a beak. There's snakes with beaks. Just like in Mexico. Because there's probably petroglyphs on all of it that haven't been seen before. Has that been known? Or you just saw that? Is that well known?
Yes.
Yes? Has there been any other petroglyphs found?
Yes, in this area, yes. We will find on back of this mother earth womb
Uh-huh.
more, and also in this there are in the wall along of the walls
Uh-huh.
the huge figure of a snake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is very similar to how they did it in Egypt with petroglyphs on the walls. in
I
the
show
pyramid.
now that huge snake on the second level. This is now the figure.
Okay, so this is, so it was one, the other one was over there, right? So it's every other?
Yeah.
It's not, so it's this one, this is the anchor stone.
Yes.
The other anchor stone was on the
Yeah.
other side over
In
there.
the middle of
And
the
then the other one was two over as well.
yes.
And it looks like it's going like this. Yeah, we have to look at that. It's not equilateral because it's not straight.
No, and when we were over there yesterday,
Yeah, totally. Well, and it's interesting they put the Christos on top of that because if that is representing either Mintaka or Altinaq, which are the two stars of Orion on the outer sides of the belt, then it represents ascension. And it's interesting that they put the Christos, the Blanco Christos, on top of it because it is about Christ consciousness. That's what this whole ascension path is in the belt stars of Orion. The central star is Al-Nilam, and Al-Nilam is Orion's gate, that many believe is the place that human souls come through as a portal to come to Earth. Okay, so let's keep going.
Okay, let's go to see the. You want to see the huge serpent? Or
Sure. Is it up?
yes, in the second.
Okay, sure.
Next view of that lady are staying there.
Okay, cool. Do it. popular spot for photography. How's it going?
It's doing good.
Here, let's do this. Okay, there we go. Let's go.
Of course. So that was it for rebirthing, but also
Los pasos son largos.
You stay rock. This piece of rock is the head.
Yeah. Very clear.
Body.
Uh-huh. You guys see this? The snake head is right there,
yeah.
and then it carries the body all the way around. And that's the neck.
If you are stay here, you have good view.
Yeah.
Until that is the tail. These two pieces. To finish in these two small pieces.
Where does it end? It ends right there?
Yeah, that is the end. This is the tail. The end. This
End of the tail.
piece.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, I see. Yeah, so tail is going up. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Why in our culture the serpents it's very important because you know along of that time the humans to dedicate to found a medicine for help our body, and then sometimes they humans on that time to help with the poison of these serpents for get a medicine that was the represent that knowledge this snake in everywhere in our cultures. We have two mentions, two types to call the serpents in our Inca language. The one it's Machahuay. The Machahuay serpent is the sacred serpent. The other Amaru, it is the serpent to have the poison. That it's very good for get medicine and then to help our body. No? So that was the reason we have two mention of these two serpents. First we call because when this serpent to use for medicine, and then we consider the spiritual for connection with the energies of or spiritual of our world. No? That was the reason in there they made or they put. We don't have the clear information about which material to use for make this figure into the rock, like our back, include our head. This.
Yeah. It's another staff of Hermes. Yeah.
This represents our chakras.
Yeah. So
That is
here we go again.
our
So this is the crown, the snake, right head, and each one of them is the chakras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, so the 7 and 11 is showing up in just a different way. So we see this all around the world. This relationship to the chakras, Indian culture, how is it possible? I think it's a threshold knowledge. When a culture civilization starts to understand how to square a circle, it knows how to balance masculine and feminine energy. When it does that, it can have a very different perspective on its universe and be able to work with it in a more symbiotic way. And realize that the material world is a function of the mental world, that it's not an objective and material universe as much as it is a mental and subjective universe. And you can impact it. You're a co-creator of it. So once you start realizing that, because you've balanced your masculine and feminine energy, you go up the chakras to the higher order understanding. You can start to access higher order dimensions. So now we're moving into the fifth, or the throat chakra. That's the fifth dimensional state. It's the realization that love trumps judgment.
Excuse me.
And that's the key to enlightenment, because when your expression of love supersedes and exceeds your desire to be right, you no longer need to be right, instead you just want to love. And that is the core aspect. It's when the heart starts to really take over as the lead between the brain and the heart. Okay, so if you want to continue to watch this, we're going to be doing this with our virtual pass. You can find the virtual pass that's on my Instagram page. It's the link on my Instagram page. You can also find it. It's been posted onto my Facebook accounts, etc. And we'll make sure it's also on the telegram page. All the other places also on Orion. For those of you also on Orion. And I hope you join us. This is going to be an amazing adventure, and I think it's already starting out with a few new discoveries that relate Saxe Woman to the Orion correlation as well. Have a great one, everyone. Sending you all love, and wishing you all the best.